and Keizaron. Take it away, fellas.
You guys, real quick, that Mello is just a natural host.
I agree.
You sound so good over there, by the way. I was just like fascinated, like, wow, you're really good at this. Anyways, on to less interesting talent in me. Hi, I'm Spike Vegeta. We're here at Summer Games Done Quick 2023. We've been enjoying awesome speedruns all throughout this first 24-ish hours. We're only like 24 hours in. Y'all have raised like $167,000. And we've had so many cool speedruns. And we got many more coming your way, including the one, the only Keizaron's going to be coming on stage with us. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Just, you know, recovering from pre-show shenanigans. I don't think any of us got any sleep.
No, I want everyone to know, if you watched that daily recap with us last night, we were all exhausted. Been up for about 6 hours straight, but woo, here we go. Jumping into the next interview. Now, Keys, I was going to be prepping an interview. I was like, oh, I've got Keizaron up here. So my first question was going to be, what generation are you playing? Or who's your starter? And then I realized you're not playing a Pokemon game this year. You're playing Ender Lilies. So tell me, myself and the audience at home, live audience we got right here as well, what is Ender Lilies and why do you run it?
So Ender Lilies is an indie Metroidvania. It has a really neat art style. It's got like, it's a mix between like a 2D Dark Souls kind of deal and Hollow Knight. So it's a lot of fun. It's not Pokemon.
Yes.
I know that that's shocking for a lot of people. I do play more games than just Pokemon. So I'm actually kind of happy that I get to run this. And there's a lot of stuff that I will bring up during the run. I will spoil a tiny bit during this interview, but not too terribly much.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about just, you're picking up a Metroidvania right here. I think Metroidvanias are just generally fantastic as speedruns. I think they just lend themselves super well to it. So as someone who has now gotten into actually speedrunning one of them, what just makes them good for speedrunning?
I think the fact that most of these styles of games, like it's such an open style of game that like, even if you're not speedrunning it, you can approach it 5,000 different ways.
Absolutely.
And for the most part, it's so open that you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to this area early, so all of a sudden my experience with the game is ruined. No, you have your own unique experience. And even when you speedrun something like Ender Lilies or a Metroidvania that has an open world concept like that, you still get that small feeling of, oh, I'm not running it the same exact way as the other person because I got comfortable with playing it this way. I'm just gonna take my knowledge for it and play as fast as I can.
Tell me a little bit about the category we're gonna be running today, All Spirits. I want to throw this question in. Little different from just like any percent or anything. What is that gonna entail and why do you want to run that category specifically here at GDQ?
So All Spirits is kind of like the boss rush category. There is technically a boss rush game mode, but you don't get to see any of the game. You just see the boss.
Yeah.
So this is my way to kind of show off as much combat as I possibly can, while also showing off a decent amount of the areas of the game. You get to see every beautiful and hideous area, and I say hideous in a very complimental way. By
yes.
But you get to see all the fights. You get to see every single boss. It's just the best bang for your buck.
That's awesome. I love finding those kind of almost like middle ground categories that showcase all the things you want to within the speedrun.
Exactly.
So you talk about the combat. That's obviously a big part of this run. Combat looks super cool, but also I'm a big movement guy. I love good movement in any speedrun. And it doesn't stop with this game. You've got from seemingly little like up warps you almost get every time you have a jump off of a ledge grab. Really, really cool animation cancels with damage boosts and whatnot. And just no care in the world. Belly flopping, we'll call them dives like they are in Super Mario. Super cool movement in this game. What do you think is some of the most satisfying stuff to you to pull off?
Well, I'm actually running on an older patch, which has a movement tech that has since been patched out, thus, you know, the older patch.
Sure.
And my favorite movement is you get a dash ability that isn't called dash, it's called Guardian's Wings, but it's a dash.
It's a dash,
and
yeah.
If you cancel the animation with the dash, you basically just stop the cooldown and just have like an almost infinite dash.
Oh, very cool.
It actually saves about 2 minutes compared to not having that dash, and it's really satisfying to do because it's not a super tight window to hit, so anyone can do it, but you feel so fast. You actually feel like a speedrunner.
Yeah, and you want that. You just want it to be satisfying and feel good to move all over the place, which you're going to be seeing a lot of that coming up here in Ender Lilies. I do have a question here, not for myself, but my man T-Pat over here on
That's my weatherman.
Your local weatherman. He was wondering, I thought this was actually a super cool question. Now, again, you are not running Pokemon, but what of your experience with running Pokemon games in the past do you think is then an applicable skill to Ender Lilies and being better at that?
So first off, shout outs to T-Pat, who is behind the camera right now. He actually is my local weatherman. It is not a joke. He was even on the same flight as me. But so menuing in Pokemon is like the big thing to save time. Like obviously getting lucky in fights, if they're not like manipulated fights, is what saves you time. But the things in your control is menuing. And menuing actually is really valuable in Ender Lilies because there's even little things like when you're warping between different areas, like I literally have it memorized. How many inputs does it take to get to this? Is it faster than if I push this button combination? Because you could hit like the L shoulder or the R shoulder button to skip 5 at a time. So it's like, okay, R up. That's the fastest way to get to this area. So like just the experience of menuing in Pokemon being like 80% of all runs of Pokemon kind of really helps save just like, you know, those tiny time saves that like, oh yeah, I saved like 0.2 seconds, but I do it like 30 times in a run. So it's actually a significant number.
And it's incredibly satisfying, I think, as a speedrunner when you can look back on your speedruns and see, like, even you have to process for a second, what did I do in that menu? You're doing it so fast. It's the purest form of speedrunning. I'm a big fan of a lot of RPG speedruns, like we just saw there with Crisis Core, when people can do those really, really fast, have that muscle memory. Super fun to watch. Before I let you get out of here, buddy, I do want to ask you one more question. It's related to a weekly, actually hotfix show that you can watch Keizaron and our good friend JHobbs296 throw down in every week. TFS, the first step. Y'all do a lot of different speedruns of games where you basically just do it for that week and you showcase to people, hey, anybody can get into speedrunning. You guys have been doing literal years of that show now. If you could have all the time in the world and just super hardcore, get sweaty about, learn one of the speed games you guys have done, what would it be?
Super Metroid.
Yeah.
I would want, so we did an episode of Super Metroid, and it was when we had an older format where we had a little more time to play with, where the show was a little longer, and we made it to Ridley. And I had killed Ridley, but he killed me at the same time. And then Hobbs eventually got there and then officially won. Not only would I want a rubber match for that, I want that rematch, but just watching so many Super Metroid runs, what a beautiful speed game.
And it's so hard.
It is so hard.
Anyone who's never like, a lot of people probably only watch Super Metroid through the lens of like GDQ. So you're watching, you know, Zoast and Oats and Goats and all these incredible runners, Behemoth doing them over the years. You don't realize moving Samus in that game is actually impossible. But if you're able to do it, it's very good. Love that you answered there with another Metroidvania game. Such a good.
Not even planned. Not even planned.
Yeah, that just worked out. Well, Keizaron, thank you so much for joining me. T-Pat, thank you for the question from earlier. Your local weatherman. Thank you all so much for watching SGQ 2023. We're only 24 hours into this sucker. We're going to send you back up to the front for Peggle Deluxe and later on Ender Lilies by Keys. Take it away, Mello.
What a fantastic interview that was. Give it up for Spike and Keizaron, everybody. Love you guys. Hey, I'm gonna read one quick donation here if I can learn how to speak. Hey, guess what? I got my name updated on the screen. I can do things. We have we have a $50 donation from Araya. They say, let's hit those pegs hard so that we can hit that Castlevania rando incentive. Yes, Araya, I agree. Ooh, I have just received some very good news. Everyone, are you ready for some Peggle Deluxe? Then let's hear it. Give it up for Britcha with Peggle Deluxe.